The Simpsons hit rock bottom about 25 years ago, and it's been going straight to hell ever since. Everybody knows that the show is terrible now. I mean, just look at these ratings. People are literally turning the channel to avoid this terrible tune. And when this pathetic show manages to get more than 1 million viewers per episode, it's only because it aired after a football game. But they're still actively trying to kill their show, because the season 34 episode, Fan-ily Feud, is the worst thing that this show has ever put out. I don't know whether to be impressed or not, because it took them over 30 years to put out their worst episode. But it doesn't seem to mean a whole lot when Fan-ily Feud is surrounded by a sea of shitty episodes like, well, I guess every episode for the past 3 decades. But why exactly is Fan-ily Feud the worst episode of The Simpsons? Well, hi, I'm the PNGtuber, and today we're here to answer the rhetorical question from the previous sentence. Okay, so the episode starts off with Bart and Homer going to see a baseball game. And let me just say, was there no other way that they could have started this episode? Are they just that creatively bankrupt that they decided, hey, let's begin an episode with 2 flanderized characters going to a sporting event that nobody gives a shit about? The Simpsons ratings are literally carried by football games. Why the fuck couldn't they have just started this episode with a football game? I do not fucking understand them. So anyway, after a series of unfunny jokes and shitty exposition, Homer is being interviewed by the news, and they ask him whether he likes some pop singer who was obviously a ripoff of Taylor Swift. So then Homer says that his Taylor Swift stand-in is terrible, which is apparently a cardinal sin, because you can't criticize celebrities in 2023. But if you want to defame God, then it's perfectly fine. What the hell has our world come to? So anyway, a bunch of strange things start happening to Homer that I guess are somehow connected to him not liking the Taylor Swift ripoff. It honestly kind of amazes me how lazy the writing in this show is. Did the writers get insulted by Taylor Swift fans on Twitter that decided to write an entire episode about it? Or did they just follow the writing prompt given to them by the broken AI? Because some of the shit in this episode feels like the writers haven't even watched a single episode of The Simpsons before. Are you telling me that everybody in the world is a fan of this Taylor Swift ripoff? Did I miss something over the past 34 seasons? Or at least enough people to make Homer's life a living hell? There are so many plot contrivances in this fucking episode that I thought I was watching an MCU movie for a second. And you know what? This next part really pissed me off. Homer finally gets to work, and after being harassed by the Taylor Swift ripoff's dipshit fans, he goes to the vending machine and sees that the only thing left in the machine is a package of celery sticks. And of course, he overreacts like a Democrat that gets sprayed with tear gas during a protest. And all I was thinking during this scene is that The Simpsons has been on for 30 fucking years, and they still haven't moved past Homer being a fat bastard! And at this point, I'm sick and fucking tired of it. I'm tired of every dad and every animated show being a fat, unreasonable, dipshit dumbass who fucks up everything he touches. Think about it. Homer is getting harassed because he said the wrong thing and couldn't recognize social cues. Peter irritates Lois in every fucking episode of Family Guy because the only thing you can ever count on him to do is to commit some stupid transgression against his wife. Like a fucking idiot. And nearly every other animated show pulls the exact same shit. Like, give it a fucking break! Why can't all animated shows be like Glenn Martin DDS, about a dad who's smart, funny, intelligent, and a fucking doctor? And you know he's not stupid because he's a doctor. Like, goddamn The Simpsons, how the fuck has this show survived 30 years doing the same shit ad nauseum? So then, after all that bull mess, we move on to a second plotline that's somehow worse than the main story. So Lisa is apparently part of a cult that worships the Taylor Swift ripoff, and I don't even think I have to point out everything wrong with that. The Simpsons has been known for including fucked up shit in their show, like dark messages, liberal politics, degenerate doings, and predictive programming. Hell, this show predicted 9/11, and the mainstream media still refuses to acknowledge it. Well, I think that it's strange as fuck that they'll bend over backwards to talk about the phony charges that the Democrat deep state filed against Emperor Trump, but they won't talk about the demonic, devious messages on television. The Simpsons is nothing more than a criminal enterprise for the woke mongrels, the time travelers, the New World Order, and every member of the Democrat Party to spread their propaganda on a global scale. And the average Joe is so susceptible to bullshit that they want launched the show enough to give it 34 fucking seasons. Somebody take me out back and put a shotgun shell through my skull, because I don't want to live in a world where a piece of pretentious piss-poor pathetic propaganda like The Simpsons can stay on the air for this fucking long. Every politician shits on each other, their constituents, and the entire fucking world. They take away your rights and sodomize you with Patriot bills until your arse looks worse than the national debt. But all of these corrupt politicians turn a blind eye to a show as terrible as The Simpsons. All these years, all these chances to get the show canceled and imprison everybody responsible for it, and they haven't done a damn thing. Well, why would they? This is part of the New World Order, the demonic propaganda program to convince average Americans that shit like child cults are okay. Like, no, bitch. Why do I even have to say this? Sometimes I even wonder who the fuck is fooled by this devious dipshit debauchery, because The Simpsons sure as fuck isn't fooling me. Then anyway, Bart joins Lisa in harassing their father because The Simpsons has decided that the best way to get back at Family Guy for ripping them off is to start ripping off Family Guy. Then we have an unfunny news report where Marge fillets the Taylor Swift ripoff harder than a Democrat fillets Kendrick Lame R. Then the news reporter says something unforgivable. He tries to imply that BTS are not sane and not perfect. And sure, it sounds like he says the exact opposite in the episode, but I can see past these Democrat mind tricks. I know exactly what the fuck they're trying to say. And you know what? I may as well come out and say it. I am a member of the BTS army. Sure, they may speak gibberish in half of their songs, but they all look like true American patriots from San Francisco, and their music is completely devoid of wokeness. Honestly, the only artist that's on the same level as BTS is Tom MacDonald, who is a lyrical genius. Like, forget Kendrick Lame R. Tom MacDonald is the greatest songwriter of all time. Anyway, after all the cult bullshit, we move on to Lisa kicking Bart out of the cult, and I'm having a harder time giving a fuck about that stupid situation than I did trying to push out a 12-inch shit this morning. So then some racially ambiguous dancers show up and Marge is invited to have dinner with the Taylor Swift ripoff. And then you literally won't believe this part. The Taylor Swift ripoff literally pulls a Bill Cosby on Marge to get her drunk and reveal shit about Homer. Taylor Swift needs to call her lawyers immediately to sue the ever-loving shit out of Fox and Disney. Because personally, I wouldn't take that. So then, the Taylor Swift ripoff makes a music video about the things that Marge told her in, quote-unquote, new friend confidence. Oh no! Is what I would say if this shitty-ass show gave me any reason to care about these characters. Like, come the fuck on. They did all this round-robin bullshit for the entire episode, just so they could make this the emotional climax? I think that a terrorist beheading video would probably be more narratively interesting than this episode's excuse of a story. And then, and no, this episode still isn't fucking over, Homer makes a diss track that tells his family how much they hurt him. And I'm like, give me a fucking break. What does this even have to do with the main plot of Homer being harassed by socially inept Zoomers for having a different opinion? Well, what the hell did his family do to hurt him? Aside from Lisa and Bart briefly being in an ineffectual cult that probably weren't even the main ones doing shit to Homer, and Marge being taken advantage of Harvey Weinstein style by a character that's a parody of a woman that's probably gonna end up suing the show into oblivion. Talk about misdirected anger. Take a chill pill, Homer. So the song plays, and aside from the fact that it's produced so poorly that you think it was made by the Neptunes, it does eventually end. And thankfully, the episode ends soon after. After one of Lisa's glitter bombs accidentally activates. Ha ha ha! That's so fucking funny. It makes one emerge without looking. No! If you couldn't tell, this episode was not fucking funny. In fact, it was one of the worst pieces of cartoon content that I've ever seen. But this episode was such a lost fucking cause that it couldn't even manage to be the worst cartoon that I've seen this year. The Simpsons can't even do a single fucking thing right. For 30 years, they've been allowed to fuck up over and over again, and the world has just sat on their dumb asses and eating this shit up like the pig from Charlotte's Web. Like, can somebody make an end? If the U.S. government ever needs new ways to torture true American patriots / Guantanamo Bay prisoners, they should just play every episode on The Simpsons on repeat until their brains fucking explode. Because there is no way that a show as shitty as this wouldn't cause permanent mental damage and Democrat dipshit stupidity of the highest order. But hey, I guess if this show even creates one demonized Democrat scoundrel, then I guess it technically did its job. Because what more can you expect from a propaganda show that's been running for 34 more fucking seasons than it ever should have gotten? But with all that said, that's why Fan-ily Feud is the worst episode of The Simpsons by far. I don't even have a real closing message for this. It's pretty clear what The Simpsons is, and why Fox should be fucking ashamed of themselves for claiming to be against wokeness, yet airing this woke propaganda every Sunday for over 30 years. Either way, I'm a PNGtuber, trying to contain my homicidal thoughts after watching this atrocity that they tried to pass off as an episode of The Simpsons, and signing off. Bye.